Howdy folks, I'm Roger Goodwater and we're back here in the Hollywood Studios on the campus of the Piedmont Bulldogs. Welcome to this week's episode?
Episode number 4, the Piedmont Football Show.
Piedmont Football Show with our head coach right here, Steve Smith. Coach, another great win for your program as we defeated the Ohatchee Indians.
Real proud of the guys, how they played against Ohatchee the other night. Ohatchee came in very prepared. They did some things that kind of gave us some problems early in the game, but defensive guys made those adjustments. Offense played well. Special teams were solid. So good win for us in the region play.
Coach, as the season progresses and the season gets tougher, so to speak, how do you manage your program, your players, your coaches, your staff on against fatigue, injuries, and do you stay consistent with your process from the beginning, or do you change things?
Well, you have to change things up every now and then. You have to know when to push, when to back off. You have to take care of guys that's got bumps and bruises, and Lane Patterson, our trainer, plays a vital role in our in that whole process with helping kids. That getting over those minor injuries and things, and just as coaches, we have to be adaptive to the change that we need to do at a particular week with our practice plans in order to be able to have the guys ready to perform on Friday night. So it's not like it used to be where you just old school pads Monday through Wednesday, and if it wasn't a good day on Wednesday, you go on pads again on Thursday and just beat each other up every day because you want to be able to compete on Friday night with a full allotment of players.
Coach, Friday night's game, in the beginning, they gave us a struggle. They marched the ball down the field a couple times and made some adjustments after the first quarter. Talk a little bit about who played well for you and the offensive players and the defensive players who played well for you.
Well, we had several guys that played really well, and a lot of guys that played well that may not get a lot of recognition in the trenches. The offensive line played extremely well as a group. Defensively, Drake Thompson had a couple interceptions in the second half when they were having to go a little bit more wide open on the offensive side to try to catch up. Drake had a good night running the ball. Tyler Lusk had 4 touchdown passes. Austin Brazier caught a couple touchdowns. CJ caught a couple touchdowns. Tackle-wise, Jacob Clark was double-digit tackles. Heather Hayes had like 18 tackles. We had a lot of guys that played well on that side of the ball. I think Deontay Alexander, Bailey Blanchard, they both were double-digit tackles. Tyler Lucas, double-digit tackles. So, we had a lot of guys that did some things on the stat sheet that will get recognized for that. But overall, you don't have times when you come out and you just don't perform at the highest level, and I think our guys kind of realized we had some poor practices last week leading into that Ohatchee game, and then it carried over to the first quarter and a half of the game on Friday night. That we weren't mentally prepared, we weren't physically prepared, and I think it was a good lesson. Always good to learn those lessons, but still come out on top with a win.
Coach, let's talk Mitchell Benefield. For the second week in a row, he's made probably an ESPN top 10 nominee play, but he's made a lot of great catches for you, and one in particular in the first quarter to extend the change, to extend the drive for you. Talk a little bit about Mitchell Benefield.
Well, Mitchell's been a pleasant surprise for us. Mitchell's a great kid. He's a hard worker. Coming into the season, he had played a little bit in a reserve role last year as a receiver, but he's taken that inside receiver, slot receiver, whatever you want to call it. He's taken that position and really ran with it, done a great job, and he did have a couple of really fine catches the other night. The one-handed catch that everybody wants to talk about, but the catch you mentioned on the very first drive of the game, when we had it I guess it was about 4th and 10 or so on their 35, and he climbed the ladder and got up off the ground really, really high and made a great catch, took a hit and held on the ball, extended that drive, and we were able to convert that into points, that drive, and go up 7-0. So, he's been a big-time contributor for us, and he's done an outstanding job.
And Coach, Jamie Crutcher is this week's Player of the Week. Talk a little bit about Jamie.
Jamie had his best ball game since he's been at Piedmont. He graded out about 93%, which is a very high grade for an offensive lineman. And he did a fine job when we were running his side. Setting the edge, giving us some places to run, and He also is the guy that sets the pass blocking, turning on the left side, and did a great job there. Jamie's got a lot of ability, and you know, each week he's gotten better as we've progressed through the season, and we're looking for big things out of him for the rest of the year.
Now let's check out some highlights from this past week's game versus the Ohatchee Indians.
Two.
You know, talking about Saban, I said, I don't want him to pastor my church. I just want him to coach my football team.
Yeah.
Howdy, folks. Welcome back. Once again with Coach Steve Smith at the Piedmont Football Show. Coach, this week, no hype is needed. There's no explanation of how excited we all are. Tell us a little bit about this week in Glencoe.
Well, you know, Glencoe's got a great team this time. It's, in my opinion, the best Glencoe team. I know in the 9 years I've been at Piedmont, probably one of the best Glencoe teams to come through in a long, long time. Coach Osmond does a great job with his program, great coach, got a great group of guys that's helped him for a long time, and you know, he's got I think 15, 16 man senior class and then a 12, 13 person junior class, right at 30 kids in the senior and junior class, and you know, that's about all the guys that get on the field for them. Offense, defense, they're playing a lot of experienced kids out there. Those guys had a great season last year, and you know, probably had a chance to be in the third round. Lost a triple overtime game, I believe it was, to Colbert County by 1. But just he does a great job with their program, and you know, they're really talented. They got a quarterback that was an All-State guy last year, and they got a couple other All-State guys back. They got a running back that's, I think, right at 600 yards through the first 3 games of the year, and got like 10 touchdowns. And Coach Osmond's older son, Thomas, is who that is. Just, you know, they're a solid team all the way around, and as far as this game goes, I mean, there's very little hype that's not already been out there amongst everybody. There's nothing you can do to make this game any bigger than what it is. Both teams are ranked. Both teams have had this game circled for a long time. You know, it's the epitome of what a rivalry is supposed to be. You know, we have a lot of respect for them as a team. You know, this particular week, you know, we know they don't care anything for us, and don't like us, and we don't like them either. So that's what kind of, you know, makes it fun. And the game, though, one of us walk away a winner, one of us walk away a loser. We shake hands and move on, and you know, just look forward to playing this type of game.
Coach, when you're playing on the road, is there something that you teach your kids about playing on the road? I know, especially in this environment that we'll face Friday, it's emotional. The bleachers are kind of close to the field. Is there anything that you coach your kids against, or coach your kids up for on what to expect?
You know, no, not really. There's all kind of, you know, misconceptions out there, and you know, any good program, it's going to be tough to go into their place and play well. I mean, people have pride, are going to want to defend their home turf, and Glencoe certainly has a lot of pride, and it's a tough place to play. But you know, you can't waste practice time and preparation time talking to kids about outside factors and things. At the end of the day, their field's the same size as our field. It's going to be striped and ready to play on. They're going to be ready to play. We'll be ready to play. And really where you're playing and how many folks are there and all the other things doesn't really matter. It's just it's a football game, and you got to block out all those other distractions and just go out there and execute and play better than the other team. Whoever plays better is going to win the game.
That's great, Coach. Don't forget, folks, that you can ask the coach. We have a segment called Ask the Coach, so get on social media, Facebook, Twitter. Get on our Facebook page. Send us in your questions that you have for Coach, and we'll get it to him. But we have one question. It's from Buddy Pinto from Goshen. He says, Coach, when you call a play, what factors go into it? And when you're deciding what play to call, what you're looking for?
Well, it's designed to score. That's a good question on Buddy's end right there. But we're trying to score, and A lot of it has to do with the game plan that we got that week for that opponent, what we've seen on film versus that opponent, what we think will work. Sometimes play calls are made to set up other plays for later in the game. But, you know, ultimately, each time we send a play in, we're hoping it's going to be a touchdown play.
That's great. Thank you for joining us today on this episode of the Piedmont Football Show. As we leave you, Jamie Crutcher is our Spotlight Player of the Week. So check out some highlights from this past week's game with Jamie Crutcher. Thank you. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Jamie Crutcher, Jr., offensive tackle.